All right, guys, workout number 2. So if you haven't had a chance yet, go back to that electronic spreadsheet and take a peek at workout 1 because we're going to be doing 3 workouts this week. And kind of some of the same principles that we went over in workout 1 will have carryover into workout 2. So some of these movements that are listed, I'm not necessarily going to demo all of the movements because some of them, especially with the ladder drills, we went over how to perform those in workout 1. But as always, we will start with some warm-up and some mobility work. From there, we're going to go into some activation drills, which basically means turn on the muscle groups that you're going to use in the workout. Then we're going to go into some footwork stuff with some ladder drills. Again, you don't have to have a ladder at home. Maybe just put some duct tape marks on the carpet. Then we're going to get into our workout. And then lastly, we'll go into our cool down. So first things first, mobilization and warming up. So first one that I have written for you guys is called pigeon. Last week we did lizard. This is similar to lizard. That back leg is going to be long and straight, but this front leg is going to be tucked in right up underneath your hips. So probably an easiest way to get into that, kind of take like a 90-90 with the knees. Then you're going to turn one knee out and make that shin almost kind of perpendicular to your torso. So this should be really good for opening up the hips, getting ready to rock for that workout. So pigeon on each side. After that, you're going to go into some things that we call tabletop thoracic rotations. So in the yoga community, this is tabletop position. You're going to put one hand behind your head. You're going to take that elbow, rotate into the pit of the other elbow, and then you're going to take that and rotate all the way up to the ceiling as far as you can get. Come in and rotate out. You're going to do that on both sides. After that, you're going to go into couch stretch. And this one's really good for hips and knees. So let's pretend this is like the edge of a couch or like the edge of a wall. And you can do it with either. So if you're in your basement, you want to use your couch, great. If you want to just kind of back up to a wall, that's fine as well. We want you to be relatively close to either the wall or the couch with that leg. So try to slide that knee in as close to the wall as possible. We're going to drive up with that opposite leg, and we're going to think about pushing the hips through and open, and then squeezing that glute. It should give you a nice, good stretch through the front part of that quad. So that's called couch. Seated straddle should be pretty straightforward. Some of you guys might even be better at doing the splits than I am, but open up those legs as wide as you can. You can lean forward, side to side, but this is really good for the groin, like the groin muscles on the inside of the legs and the hamstrings as well. After that, I have some seated supine rollovers. So you can start in that same seated straddle position. Slowly lower yourself to the ground. Get those feet all the way above the head. And then you're going to roll forward. So you're going to roll back. Good stretch for the back. Touch the feet over the head if you can. All the way back up to that seated position. So those are our supine rollovers. Now we're going to get into our activation. So if you have a dumbbell or a kettlebell, this will work. You could probably also use a resistance band, or you can just do body weight. So the first one's called a single leg RDL. We're going to be balancing on one leg, and the bell or the dumbbell is going to be in the opposite hand. So in this case, I'm balancing on my left leg, which means the bell is going to be in the right hand. What I want you guys to think about trying to do is keeping this front leg slightly bent. We want to make sure that back is nice and flat, so I'm not rounding out the upper back to do this. And it's not really about seeing if I can get the bell all the way to the floor. What I'm trying to do is actually make a straight line from my shoulders to my hips to my ankles. So this is your single leg Romanian deadlift, or RDL, you'll do on both sides. After your single leg RDLs, we have some body weight good mornings. You guys can do these if you feel comfortable with your bell or maybe your dumbbell, or we just do it without weight. Slight bend in the knees. Think about pushing those hips back to the wall behind you, making that back nice and flat, getting a good stretch through the hamstrings, and then coming all the way back up. So these are our good mornings. After your good mornings, we're going to do some Kang squats. The Kang squat is basically like what we did last week with the air squat, except it's going to start with a good morning. So same thing, feet basically right up underneath the shoulders, slight bend in the knees, push those hips back, good stretch through the hamstrings, and then we're going to come down, drive those knees out and open into a good squat. And then I'm going to do the opposite. Good stretch, back flat, all the way up. So these are what we're going to call Kang squats. Really good for the hips and the knees. And then the last one I have written down as the single arm overhead hold. Again, you guys can do this with an object, a dumbbell, a kettlebell. We're going to come all the way straight overhead. Keep that belly nice and tight. From the side profile, I don't want to be hyperextending the low back, so we want to be stacked from wrists to elbows to shoulders to hips to knees to ankles. And we're going to do an overhead hold for 30 seconds on each arm, and that should be really good to turn on all those stabilizer muscles in our upper body. Once we've done this, I have it written as 3 rounds, just nice and easy, so you go all through those movements 3 times. Then we're going to get into our footwork. So this is kind of what I told you at the beginning of the video. I'm not necessarily going to review every single thing that we do because some of this stuff's going to be same from week to week. But I'm going to have you guys start with those high knee drills again, pumping those elbows, driving those knees up. You're going to go both feet in each hole. And once you've done that, you're going to go every other hole. And you're going to be running through that ladder or hitting those individual tape marks. Then you're going to do a jump with the rotation. So this is a little bit different than what we did last week. So think about turning and facing your ladder and put that lead foot in. From here, I'm going to jump and rotate all the way down through. That lead foot's going in, and then I'm switching. Lead foot's going in, and then I'm switching. So this is a really good way to prep the knees and the hips to get you guys ready for your volleyball drills. And then we'll finish up with that forward zigzag, 1 foot in the ladder, translate through, lead with that front foot. You're always going to have 1 foot outside the ladder and 1 foot over the top of the ladder. So those are our footwork drills for today. Now, by this time, we should be nice and warmed up and kind of turned on. All the muscles activated and ready to rock for our workout. So last week, we had RFT, or rounds for time. This week, I'm going to introduce you to another new term. It's called AMRAP. So AMRAP stands for as many rounds and reps as possible. AMRAP. You guys are going to do a 10-minute workout today. So I'm going to go through the movements with you, and then you're going to spend 10 minutes going through those same movements as many times as you can with good form and technique. And then you're going to write your score down. So if you got through it 5 times, write down 5. If you got through it 6 times, write down 6. Let us know how many rounds and reps you got through. So today's workout's going to start with 6 burpees. Now, the burpee is very similar to the push-up that I briefed you guys on last week. So let's remember our good coaching cues for the push-up, right? You guys can go knees if you need to. If you feel strong enough, you can kind of come up on those tippy toes. But remember, the bottom of the burpee is going to look just like the start of our push-up. So we want our fingertips right up and underneath our shoulders. Take those elbows, pin them by your side, make that belly nice and tight. This is the bottom of the burpee. Now, you guys can get there however you want. If you feel comfortable, you can drop down into that position, or if that's a little bit too much, you can step back and step down and step up. But the burpee is going to see chest and thighs touch the ground. So I'll show you one here. Drop down, hop up. We're going to jump and lightly touch the hands above the head. So that's the burpee. You guys are going to do 6 of those. After you do your 6 burpees, you're going to go into 8 Russian kettlebell swings. Now you guys can use a dumbbell for this. You can use a kettlebell for this. If you have a resistance band, you can put the resistance band around the bottom of your feet and you can swing that up in front of you. We have 8 Russian swings. So we went over this in workout 1, but we're going to focus on getting a really good hinge through the hips. As I reach back, those arms are going to stay long and straight. And at the top, I'm going to really think about squeezing those butt muscles. When I do that, the bell is going to come right up in front of my face or my eyes. I'm going to keep those arms long and straight, and I'm going to use my legs kind of as shock absorbers. But just like the squat, we want to make sure we keep the pressure evenly distributed through the toes and the heels. 8 Russian swings. After your Russian swings, we're going to go into 10 lunges. We kind of went over the lunge last week as well. Remember, we want to be about 90 degrees with the front knee, 90 degrees with the back knee. You guys can come up. You can get 5 on each leg. Or if you want to, you can step forward and back, okay? Or you can step backward and forward. Either of those will work. And then the last movement in today's workout is just going to be a line hop. So we're trying to get the heart rate up a little bit. Now, if you want to, you can substitute with a jump rope, and that's fine. But I was trying to take into account the fact that some of you might not have a jump rope. So with these line hops, let me make sure here, I have it written as lateral line hops. So if you're in your basement, maybe put a little piece of tape on the floor, get a pencil or a pen, something like that, set it down on the floor, and we're going to jump laterally, so like this, over the line, and we're going to do 20 of those. So just as quick review, your workout for today is a 10-minute AMRAP of 6 burpees, 8 Russian swings, 10 lunges, and 20 lateral line hops. I think you guys are going to do great. For our cool down, I'll show you guys a couple of new ones for today. We're going to do scorpion, which is really good for those burpees. We're going to go all the way down on our belly. One arm's going to be straight out. I'm going to use my other arm to kick over, so that one leg is going to come over the top of the other. And that should give me a nice good stretch through the front part of that shoulder and your pec, which you use a lot in the burpee. So that's stretch 1. The next one is called a figure 4 rotation. I'll show you guys a couple of different angles from this. Basically, I'm going to lay down on my back, cross one leg over the other, and then I'm going to take that foot down to the floor, get a good stretch, and then come right back up to that neutral position. Show you guys that from the side angle as well. This one's really good for the low back. So maybe your parents or coaches might find this one beneficial to them, maybe after a long day sitting in the office in a chair. Then we're going to go back to that couch stretch that I showed you guys at the beginning. This is so good. The knees and hips. Remember, you can use a wall, a chair, a couch. Foot's going to come up. Think about driving that back hip through, getting a good stretch through that hip flexor. And then the last mobilization for the day is a sideline shoulder arc. So these are fantastic if you have some shoulder issues. So we're going to make sure that you guys don't get shoulder issues. I'll show you a couple different angles from this. So stack the knees, the hips, the ankles, hands directly out to the side. The bottom arm isn't going to move. The top arm, I'm gonna use my fingertips and trace a circle. Once I open up, palm can come to the ceiling all the way around, so I'm kind of in a cross position. Try to keep the fingertips on the floor the whole way, and then just come right back to that start position. So we'll get our side-lying shoulder arcs on both sides. I'm anxious to see what you guys think about workout 2. Good luck.